The sky above the strange planet was a deep violet, filled with clouds that glowed like soft fire. A broken ship fell from the sky, its metal body burning as it crashed through the trees. Birds flew away in fear, and the ground shook under the impact. Inside the ship, a boy named Ravi slowly opened his eyes. His head hurt, and his arms were shaking. He sat up with effort and looked around. The ship was broken. Sparks came out of the wires, and smoke filled the air. Everything was silent except the quiet sound of Ravi stood up and stumbled outside. The forest was full of tall trees with blue leaves and soft lights glowing from the plants. It was beautiful, but he was not here to enjoy it. His mission was to study the planet, not to crash on it. This ship had been part of a peaceful human mission. Many years ago, humans had started exploring other worlds. Ravi was one of the youngest on the team. He had studied maps, language, and science. But now, none of that helped. He was alone and walked slowly through the trees, his leg hurting with every step. He tried to stay calm, but fear followed him. His crew was gone. His ship was silent. He was just a boy on an unknown world, with no food, no tools, and no way to call home. Then he heard a sound. Leaves moved behind him. He turned quickly, but saw nothing. The forest was quiet again, but he felt it. Someone or something was watching him. Kept walking until he found a small clearing. In the middle, there was a pool of clear water. He sat beside it, tired and weak. His reflection in the water showed a dirty face, messy hair, and eyes full of worry. Slowly, without meaning to, tears began to fall. Wiped his face, but the tears kept coming. He was scared, alone, and didn't know what to do. He closed his eyes. Then a soft voice spoke behind him. "Your body is leaking water. Are you hurt?" Ravi turned in shock. Standing a few steps away was a girl, but she was not human. Her skin was smooth and light blue, her hair long and silver. Her clothes looked like they were made from leaves and light. Her eyes were wide and full of concern. Ravi did not answer right away. He just stared. She stepped closer, looking at his face. "You are damaged," she asked again. "The water from your eyes. Is it blood?" Ravi gave a weak laugh, even though he was still shaking. "No, it's not blood. It's called crying. Humans cry when they are sad or scared." The alien girl looked more confused. "Water comes out of your eyes when you feel things?" He nodded. "Yes, it's normal. I'm not hurt. I'm just tired." The girl sat beside him carefully, still watching his face. She seemed younger than him, maybe his age. She had never seen a human before. "My name is Zira," she said softly. "You fell from the sky." "I saw the fire." "I'm Ravi," he replied. "I didn't mean to crash. My ship broke during landing." Zira looked up at the sky. "You are the first sky child I have met." Ravi smiled a little. "Sky child? Is that what you call people from space?" She nodded. "In our old stories, the sky children came in fire and light, but none have come for many seasons. My people say they are gone forever." Ravi looked around the strange forest. "Then maybe I'm the first one back." Zira stood and held out her hand. "You cannot stay here. The forest will become cold soon. Come with me. I will help you." Ravi took her hand. Her touch was warm and soft. She helped him stand, and together they walked deeper into the glowing forest. As they walked, Zira pointed at strange flowers that opened as they passed, and trees that bent gently to make a path. It felt like the planet was alive and watching them. After some time, they reached a small cave with a soft green light coming from the walls. Zira led him inside. It was dry and warm. She brought him a leaf filled with sweet water and a fruit that tasted like honey. Ravi sat on the smooth stone and looked at her. "Why are you helping me?" Zira sat across from him. "Because you are alone. Because you cried. And because my heart told me to." He didn't know what to say. No one had ever helped him without asking for something in return. Her kindness felt real. "Thank you," he said softly. Zira smiled. "Your words are warm." They sat in silence for a while. Ravi told her about Earth, about stars and machines. Zira listened with wide eyes. She told him about her world, about how the trees sing at night and how her people speak to the rivers. It felt like a dream, but Ravi knew it was real. Later that night, as he lay on a soft bed of moss, Ravi looked up at the ceiling of the cave. The glowing lights above looked like stars. His tears had stopped, but his heart was still full. Maybe this planet was more than just a mission. Maybe it was a chance for something new and beside him. The alien girl named Zira watched over him, her mind full of questions about the strange sky child who cried. Ravi woke up slowly as the soft green light of the cave touched his face. For a moment he forgot where he was. Then he remembered the crash, the forest, the strange glowing plants, and the girl with blue skin who had helped him. Her name was Zira, and she had saved him. Sat up and looked around. Zira was sitting near the cave entrance. She was watching the trees gently sway in the morning breeze. Birds with colorful wings flew between the branches. The forest was alive, and calm. Zira turned her head and smiled when she saw him. Awake, you our strong sky child, she said. Your eyes are no longer leaking. Are you better now? Ravi smiled. Yes, I'm feeling better. And thank you again for helping me. She tilted her head. I still don't understand how your tears work. You say they come when you feel something too much? Ravi nodded. Yes, when humans feel very sad or scared or even happy sometimes. We cry. The water helps us let the feeling out. Zira looked amazed. On my world, no one cries. Our feelings stay inside. We are told to hide them. Why? Ravi asked. Because feelings are seen as weakness, Zira replied softly. Only children show emotion. Adults must stay calm always. Ravi looked at her with surprise. But feelings make us human. Without them, we would be like machines. Zira didn't answer at first. She looked at her hands, then at the forest. My people fear what emotion can do, she said. Long ago, there was a great fire, a war between our kind and others who came from the sky. The stories say emotion caused it. Anger and fear made the sky children attack, and my people fought back. Since then, we were told to hide our hearts. Ravi listened carefully. He didn't know humans had ever visited this world before. If there was a war, it must have been long ago. He wanted to know more. Do you believe that story? He asked. Zira looked unsure. I don't know, but you are not like the stories say. You are kind. You cried not because you wanted to fight, but because you were scared. And lost. Ravi gave a small laugh. Yeah, I was very scared. I still am a little. But talking to you helps. Zira stood and walked toward the entrance. Come. There is something I want to show you. Ravi followed her outside. The air was fresh and cool. The trees made soft sounds as the wind passed through them. Zira led him down a narrow path through the forest. They walked for some time, passing glowing flowers and small animals with big eyes. After a while, they reached a hill. At the top was a tall stone with strange markings on it. It looked very old. This is a watcher's stone, Zira said. It is one of many. They are placed all across our land. We believe they were left by the sky children before the fire came. Ravi stepped closer. He touched the stone gently. The symbols carved into it were worn and faded, but something about them felt familiar. He took a closer look. In the corner of the stone was a small circle with a line through it. His eyes widened. This symbol, he said, I've seen it before. It was used by Earth's first space group many years ago. I read about it in school. Zira looked surprised. So it is true. Your people were here once. Ravi nodded slowly. Yes, but I never knew they left anything behind. Zira looked thoughtful. Maybe they didn't want to leave. Maybe something forced them to go. Ravi touched the stone again. Maybe, and maybe that war you talked about was a mistake. Maybe fear caused it, just like you said. Zira looked at him. Then perhaps we are not enemies. Perhaps we are the ones who can change the story. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Zira pointed to the sky. When you fell, I saw your ship come down like a shooting star. I thought it was a sign. My people say that when a star falls, it means change is coming. Ravi looked up too. The sky was clear and peaceful. He didn't know what would happen next, but he was sure now that meeting Zira was not an accident. Maybe you're right, he said. Maybe I was meant to find you. Zira smiled. Then let us learn from each other. I will show you my world and you can tell me more about yours. Ravi nodded. Deal. But first I need to find a way to fix my ship or send a signal. My people might think I'm lost, or worse, we will find a way together, Zira said. There are old places in the forest, places with machines and lights that no one dares enter. Maybe they hold the answers you seek. Ravi felt hope rise in his chest. He had come here by accident, but now he had a guide, a friend, and maybe a path forwarders. The sun began to set, the forest turned golden. The trees shimmered in the light, and the watcher's stone glowed softly. Ravi turned to Zira. I'm glad you found me. Zira looked at him. And I'm glad your tears did not mean death. They both laughed and under the rising stars. A new friendship began, one that would change both their worlds forever. The next morning, the sky was bright and full of soft clouds. A warm wind passed through the trees as Ravi and Zira walked through the forest. Birds sang in the branches, and strange, colorful bugs floated above flowers. Everything around them felt calm. But Ravi's heart was not. He had a feeling something big was waiting. Zira led him through a path few had walked in many years. The trees grew taller here, and the ground was covered in soft blue moss. She moved carefully as if the forest was watching them. Where are we going? Ravi asked. There is an old place beyond the river, Zira said. My people call it the Silent Field. It is where many watcher stones stand together. No one goes there now. They say it is cursed, but I believe it holds answers. About your people and mine. Ravi nodded. He trusted her. If there were clues that could explain what happened between their worlds. He wanted to find them. After some time they reached a narrow river with water as clear as glass. Zira showed him a fallen tree that acted as a bridge. One by one they crossed it carefully. On the other side the forest was different. The air felt still and heavy. The wind stopped blowing and even the birds were silent. He walked deeper until the trees opened into a wide flat space. In the middle stood tall stone towers, like the one they had seen before. But here there were many of them. Some stood straight while others leaned or had broken in half. Vines and moss grew on them, but the carvings were still visible. Ravi stepped closer to one of the towers. He saw the same circle landline symbol again, but this time there were more signs. Shapes that looked like stars and lines that could be puffs. One stone even had a picture of a ship. This is not just a marker, Ravi said. It's a map. A star map. Zira looked around slowly. Then your people were exploring many places. Maybe even more than just my world. Ravi touched the stone with care. These towers were built with purpose. They wanted someone to find them. As they studied the stones, a soft hum filled the air. It was quiet at first, like a whisper in the wind, but then it grew stronger. Zira's eyes widened. We should not be here too long, she said. The air is changing. Ravi turned around and saw the sky darken. Shapes appeared above the trees. They looked like metal birds but moved without wings. They floated silently, glowing with red light. Zira grabbed his hand. We need to go. Now they ran through the field as the floating machines began to follow them. One of the towers flashed with red light and the ground shook. The machines were waking up. Ravi looked back. What are they? Guardians, Zira said breathlessly. Old machines left to protect the Watcher's stones. They do not know you. They think you are a threat. They reached the trees again and ran through the thick forest. The machines followed, but slower now, unable to move fast among the trees. Zira pulled him toward a hidden path covered in thick vines. Behind it was a narrow tunnel made of stone. They squeezed inside just before one of the machines passed by overhead. Inside the tunnel it was dark and quiet. The sound of the machines faded. They walked deeper until the stone walls opened into a small chamber. Strange shapes and lights were carved into the walls. In the center was a round platform with a metal box on it. The box looked very old but not broken. It had buttons and small lights that blinked softly. Ravi stepped toward it. This looks like human tech. Very old but still working. Zira stayed back. What does it do? Ravi wiped off the dust and pressed one of the buttons. A soft light filled the room. Then a voice spoke. It was calm and human. This is Dr. Lena Wells. If anyone finds this message, please listen carefully. We came to this planet many years ago in peace. We met the people who lived here. At first we shared knowledge. We traded food, stories, even music. But something went wrong. Ravi and Zira stared at the glowing image of a woman speaking. Her face was tired but kind. We did not understand their ways, she continued. They did not understand ours. A small mistake became a fight, then fear. Turned it into war. I tried to stop it, but I failed. We left this world with pain in our hearts. The image faded slowly. The light dimmed, but one last line appeared on the screen: "Forgive us. We believe in peace. Maybe one day it will return." Ravi stood in silence. The room felt cold. Zira stepped forward. "So it was fear, just like my people said. But not only. From your side. Both sides were afraid." Ravi nodded. "Yes. And fear made them forget what they were trying to build together." Zira looked around the chamber. "Then maybe this is our task, to finish what they started, to fix what was broken." Ravi took a deep breath. "We have to try, but we need help. My people need to know I'm alive. I need to send the signal. Maybe then they'll come." Zira nodded. "There's an old mountain far to the east. The elders say it holds machines from the past. Perhaps you can use them to call your people." Ravi smiled. "Then we go to the mountain." Zira looked at him with steady eyes. Not just to send a signal, but to show that peace is still possible. They stood together in the quiet chamber, surrounded by the memory of a message left long ago. Outside, the forest waited, and the sky above held the stars that once brought them together. Now it was up to Ravi and Zira to light that path again. The stone tunnel behind them was dark and still, but Ravi and Zira knew they could not stay long. The Guardians were outside, flying through the forest, searching. Their lights still flashed through the trees, and their sensors were sharp. One mistake, and they would be found. Ravi looked at Zira. "We need to move before they return." Zira nodded. "There's a hidden trail behind the hill. It leads away from the Watcher's stones and into the deep forest. The Guardians do not go there. Often they stepped out of the tunnel quietly. The forest was thick, the air heavy and quiet. The birds had stopped singing, and even the insects were hiding. The red lights of the Guardians blinked far above the trees." Ravi followed Zira closely, trying not to make a sound as they climbed the hill. One of the machines suddenly turned and moved toward them. Its light passed over the ground just a few steps away. Zira pulled Ravi behind a large rock. They held their breath as the Guardian floated past without seeing them when it was gone. They ran. Branches hit their arms as they pushed through bushes. The path was narrow and twisted between tall roots and fallen trees. Ravi's heart was beating fast. He had never been chased by machines before. He had never felt this kind of fear, but Zira was calm. She moved with skill, knowing every turn and step. Her eyes watched the sky. Her ears listened for danger. She led him through a small stream, then under an arch made of two old trees grown together. At last, the forest grew quiet again. They stopped near a wide tree with a hollow space. Beneath it, Zira sat down to rest, and Ravi did the same. "That was close," Ravi said. Breathing hard, Zira looked at him. "The Guardians are old, but still dangerous. They protect the Watcher's stones from anyone they do not know. Even my people stay away from them." Ravi wiped sweat from his face. "Then how can we reach the mountain if they are guarding everything?" "Old, there is a way," Zira said. "But it will not be easy." She pulled a small map made of folded leaves from her bag. On it, lines were drawn with dark red ink. She pointed to a place near the edge. "This is the Sky Temple," she said. "It stands near the mountain you spoke of. My grandfather once told me it holds old machines and lights that speak to the sky. If we reach it, maybe you can send your message." Ravi looked at the map. The path was long and passed through strange places. Lakes with black water, cliffs with no trees, and a wide flat desert with glowing rocks. "Will the Guardians follow us there?" Ravi asked. "No," Zira answered. "They only guard the places where sky children once lived. The Sky Temple is silent. My people do not go there, and the machines do not fly that far." Ravi nodded. "Then we go there. It may be our only chance." They rested for a short time, eating fruits from Zira's bag and drinking from the stream. Then they began their journey again, heading toward the unknown. As they walked, Ravi looked around at the strange world. The trees had leaves like crystal, and some plants moved slowly as if alive. A small animal with 6 legs ran past them, holding a nut in its mouth. It stopped to stare at them, then ran into a hole in the ground. Zira smiled. "Even the smallest creatures watch us. This world listens more than it speaks." Ravi nodded. "Your planet is beautiful. I never thought I'd find peace in a place like this." Zira looked at him. "And I never thought a sky child could show kindness. My people still believe the sky brought only pain, But I have seen more in you, Ravi smiled. We're both more than the stories they told us by nightfall. They reached a cliff that looked over a wide valley. From the edge, they could see glowing lakes and tall silver trees. In the far distance, they saw a mountain that touched the sky. Even from here, it looked large and full of mystery there, Zira said, pointing. That is where we must go. Ravi stared at the mountain. It looks far, it is, Zira replied. But we are closer now than ever before. They built a small shelter from branches and leaves. As they sat near a tiny fire made from dry roots, Ravi looked up at the stars. He thought about Earth, his friends, and the team he had lost. He didn't know if they were still alive or if they even knew where he was. But something deep in his heart told him not to give up. Zira watched him with quiet eyes. Do you miss your home? Yes, Ravi said. But right now this is the only home I have. And I'm glad I met you here. Zira smiled. So maybe we were meant to meet. Maybe this journey is not only for you. Maybe it's for me too. They sat in silence under the stars. No guardians followed them now. The forest was still, and the night was gentle. Their mission was not finished, but a small part of the path was already behind them together. They had escaped the machines of the past. Now they walked toward the future. The morning light touched the valley slowly. A soft breeze moved through the tall silver trees. Birds flew in circles above the glowing lakes. Ravi woke up and stretched his arms. He felt the cool air on his face. Beside him, Zira sat quietly, her eyes looking toward the far mountain. We should leave soon, she said. The journey ahead is long, but the path will be clear while the sun is high. Ravi nodded. I'm ready. The sooner we reach the Sky Temple, the better. They ate a simple meal and packed their things. Then they began walking down the slope of the cliff and into the wide valley. The land here was different. The ground was smooth and soft. Small lights blinked from the roots of plants. It felt like the earth itself was alive, and watching the moss, they crossed a narrow bridge of stone. Ravi asked, have you ever been to the Sky Temple before? Zira shook her head. No. The elders say it is silent and full of old things that no one understands. Some believe it is a resting place for the sky children. Others say it holds voices that never stop speaking. Ravi looked at the path ahead. Maybe one of those voices can help us. The forest opened into a flat field. At the center stood a large round structure made of silver stone. It had no roof. Its walls curved like the petals of a flower. The surface was smooth and clean. Even though no one had touched it in many years, that is not the Sky Temple, Zira said. But it is also a place from the past. We should look inside. It may hold a clue. Ravi walked toward it. As he stepped through the opening in the wall, a soft sound filled the air. It was like wind and music together. In the middle of the room stood a tall machine with a glass screen. Vines grew around its base, but the top was still working. Gravy touched the side. Gently, the screen lit up, and a human voice spoke, recording 532. Dr. Lena Wells reporting. Date unknown. Ravi and Zira stared at the screen as the image of a woman appeared. Her face was older than in the first message, and her eyes looked tired. If you are hearing this, then someone found our final post. I don't know how much time has passed. I don't know if Earth remembers us. But I must speak these words before they are lost. She paused and looked down. Then back into the camera. We came here with hope. We wanted to share, to learn, to build something new. And for a time, we did. The people of this world welcomed us. We gave them stories, and they gave us peace. But fear is a heavy thing. One wrong step, one loud voice, and all the trust we built fell apart. Zira watched in silence. Ravi stood frozen. They thought we wanted to take their land. We thought they were hiding secrets. A misunderstanding turned into a fight. We activated the Guardians to defend ourselves. They answered with fire. By the time we stopped, it was too late. Too many lives were lost. She closed her eyes. We left this planet with regret. But before we did, we left behind knowledge. We had messages like this one in places only the brave would search. If you found this, then you were brave, and you must do better than we did. The screen dimmed. A symbol appeared to hands reaching toward each other. He placed his hand on the screen. She tried. She really tried. Zira placed her hand beside his. And now it is our turn. Suddenly, the floor below them lit up. A small panel opened, revealing a box made of metal and glass. Inside it was a round device with glowing lenses. Ravi picked it up. This looks like a memory core. We might be able to use this at the Sky Temple to activate something bigger. Maybe even the signal system. Zero smiled. Then Dr. Wells still helps us, even after all this time. They left the old structure and walked for hours. The land changed again. The soft grass became rocky ground. The trees grew thinner. Small red flowers grew between cracks in the stone. The sun was now high in the sky, shining over everything. By late afternoon, they reached the edge of a cliff. Far below was a wide open space with broken machines and towers. At the center stood a tall structure with pointed sides and glowing lines that ran from top to bottom. It looked like it had been untouched for years, but it was still alive. There's the Sky Temple. Zero said. Ravi stared in wonder. It looks like something from a dream. They made their way down carefully. When they reached the base, the doors of the temple opened without a sound. Inside was a large round hall filled with control panels, wires, and old screens. Dust floated in the air, and lights blinked slowly in the walls. This place was made to speak to the stars, Ravi said. We just have to wake it up. He placed the memory core into a round slot in the center panel. The lights grew brighter. The walls began to hum. A voice filled the room. Connection ready. Input message to send. Zero stepped back as Ravi took a deep breath. Then he began to speak. This is Ravi of Earth. I am alive. My ship crashed, but I am safe. I found a friend here. Her name is Zira. She is not human, but she has a kind heart. The people of this planet and humans once knew each other. We must try again. We must not repeat the mistakes of the past. If anyone can hear this, please come. He pressed the send button. The signal shot into the sky. A small light followed it, climbing higher and higher until it was gone. Zero looked at him. Now we wait. Ravi nodded, and hoped that someone is listening. They stood side by side in the temple. The past had spoken. The future was still and known. But together, they had done something that might bring both worlds together again. After sending the message from the Sky Temple, Ravi and Zira stood silently in the large hall. The walls hummed softly, and the old machines blinked with new life. Outside, the forest whispered with the wind, but inside the temple, time seemed to pause. Ravi looked at Zira. Do you think someone will come? Zira smiled, but there was worry in her eyes. I hope so. Your people are far away, but the signal is strong. If they are listening, they will hear you. Ravi nodded. I can only wait now, but there is something else I need to tell you. Zira listened closely as he explained his plan. I want to stay here until help arrives, but I also want to learn more about your world. Maybe together, we can find a way to stop the Guardians from chasing us. Zira agreed. There's one place the Guardians do not go, the Elder Councils. Home. If we could reach them, maybe they will listen to your words. Ravi's eyes lit up. That sounds good. Can you take me there? Zira smiled warmly. Yes, but it is a long journey. The elders live beyond the Crystal River. Few travel there now because it is dangerous. They prepared to leave the temple. As they stepped outside, Ravi looked up at the sky. The sun was beginning to set. Colors of orange and purple painted the clouds. Let's go, he said. We need to move before night falls. The path to the Elder Council's home was full of challenges. They crossed rocky hills where sharp stones could cut their feet. They walked through thick forests where strange creatures hid in the shadows. But Zira knew the way well. She led Ravi carefully, telling him stories about the places they passed on night. They camped near a quiet lake. The water was so clear that Ravi could see the stars reflected on its surface as they rested. Zira told him about the elders. They are the oldest in my people. They have seen many seasons and know many stories. But they are also cautious. They fear change. It will take time for them to trust you. Ravi nodded. I understand, but we have to try. We can't stay hidden forever. The next day, as they walked through a narrow valley, they heard the sound of machines again. The Guardians had found them. Zira's face grew serious. We must hide. They ran into a thick cluster of trees and crouched behind a large rock. The Guardians hovered above, scanning with their red lights. Ravi's heart pounded. He felt the old fear return suddenly. One of the machines moved away, and the others followed. Zira let out a quiet sigh. They will not give up so easily, she said. But they do not understand us yet. If they did, they would not chase. Ravi looked at her. Then we must show them. Finally, after many days, they reached the edge of the crystal river. The water sparkled like diamonds in the sunlight. Across the river was a village made of tall trees and shining glass. Smoke rose from small fires, and people moved quietly between. Homashira took a deep breath. This is where the elders live. We must be careful. They crossed a narrow bridge, made of woven branches. As they entered the village, the people stopped and stared. Ravi felt their eyes on him. He could see doubt and fear in their faces. An old woman stepped forward. Her skin was pale blue, and her hair was white like snow. She looked at Ravi and then at Zira. You bring a sky child here, she said softly. Why? Zira spoke clearly. He comes with a message of peace. He carries the hope of our two peoples. We must listen. The elders gathered around. They asked questions about Ravi's world and his journey. Ravi answered honestly, telling them about Earth, the human crew, and the message he sent from the Sky Temple. Elders listened with care. Some nodded slowly, others looked unsure. But one thing was clear. They were beginning to see that the past did not have to repeat. After long talks, the elders agreed to help Ravi. They promised to stop the Guardians from hunting him and to work toward peace with humans again. Ravi smiled. Thank you. This means more than I can say. Zira took his hand. Together, we will make a new story. One of hope, not fear. As the sun set behind the village, Ravi felt a new strength inside him. He was no longer just a lost boy on a strange world. He was a bridge between two worlds, and soon, he hoped, the stars above would bring help. The stars shone bright in the sky as Ravi and Zira stood on the edge of the village. The air was cool, and the soft sounds of the forest filled the night. The elders had promised to stop the Guardians from chasing Ravi. They had agreed to send a message to their people and wait for the humans to respond. Ravi looked up at the sky. His heart was full of hope. He thought of Earth, his home far away. He wished his friends were here to see this moment, to see that maybe two worlds could find peace. Zira stood beside him. Her blue skin seemed to glow softly in the moonlight. She smiled gently. We have done much already, she said, but the journey is not over. Ravi nodded. We still have to wait and hope. Days passed slowly. Ravi and Zira stayed in the village. The people welcomed them with quiet kindness. Ravi learned about their customs and stories. He shared songs and tales from Earth. Slowly, the walls of fear began to break on morning. As the sun painted the sky with gold, a distant light appeared above the trees. Ravi's heart jumped at them. He whispered. The humans. Zira took his hand. They have come together. They ran toward the clearing where the ships landed. The air was filled with the sound of engines and soft voices. Humans stepped out of the ships, dressed in bright suits. They looked curious and courteous. Ravi smiled widely. I am here. I am alive. The human leader, a woman with kind eyes, stepped forward. She held out her hand to Ravi. We received your message, she said. We came as soon as we could. Ravi took her hand and shook it firmly. Thank you. I could not have done this without Zira and her people. The aliens and humans met slowly. They talked about the past and the future. The elders and the human leaders promised to build trust, to learn from each other, to never let fear destroy their chance for peace again. Ravi looked at Zira. This is a new beginning. Zira smiled. Yes, a story of hope. As the sun rose higher, the sky was filled with light. Two worlds stood together, ready to face the future. And in that moment, Ravi knew that tears were not a sign of weakness, but of strength. Because to feel deeply was to be truly alive.